This is skill 4, rational and radical expressions. And when we look at this, what we're doing is we're multiplying two fractions. And when you multiply two fractions, you don't need a common denominator. All we really want to do before we multiply this big old mess is try to simplify it first. And in order to simplify, we have to factor. So we're going to factor the tops and we're going to factor the bottoms, and then we're going to cancel things out. And really, when we say cancel, what we mean is divide them out. And that's why we need to connect things with multiplication, because the opposite of multiply is to divide. So factor tops, factor bottoms, and then cancel or divide things out. Now your first step of factoring is always GCF, and think about every time you have a binomial, that's what I want you to think. Is there a GCF? And in that case there is. It's a 2 and an x. And 2x times x gets us the 2x squared, and 2x times negative 3 gets us the negative 6x. Okay. Factor the tops. So here we go. I'm going to factor the other numerator or the top of the fraction. Here's this trinomial. Think GCF. There's nothing we can do. Okay. If we can factor that, we need to x and box. And the reason why you have to x and box is because the leading coefficient is not a 1. So we need two numbers that multiply to be negative 8, but add to be positive 7. Go back and forth, back and forth. I think it's 8 and negative 1. Okay. So if we x, now we're going to box. You put the first thing in the first box, 2x squared. You put the last thing in the last box. And then the magic numbers, the ones you carefully selected, the 8 and the negative 1, along with your middle letter, which happens to be x. Okay. We take our GCF across the top, 2x. 2x times x makes 2x squared. 2x times positive 4 gives you that positive 8x. GCF across the bottom, you take out that sign, which is a negative, and its greatest common factor, well, you have to take something, so we're going to take a 1. Our factors live at the top and the side of your box. So this numerator, or the top, factors into x plus 4 times 2x minus 1. Either order's fine. All right, so we factor the tops. Second thing, factor the bottoms. Again, binomial. Think GCF. Right? We can take a 4 out. 4 times x makes 4x, and 4 times positive 1 gives you positive 4. In the second one, what we have is a trinomial. The nice thing about that trinomial is the leading coefficient right there is a 1. So all we have to do is x. We don't need to box. So if we can factor it, we need two numbers that multiply to be that positive 1 times negative 12, which is negative 12, but add to be that invisible number 1 right there. I think our winning combination is going to be, negative 3 and positive 4, or positive 4 and negative 3. Doesn't matter. Okay. So we'll x minus 3, x plus 4. Now, if you're not sure when to box or not, just always box. All right, you'll end up getting those same factors. All right, factor the tops, factor the bottoms, and then we cancel. So I'm going to divide things out. I am looking for, well, the first thing I notice is it has an x minus 3 in the top as well as 1 in the bottom. And there's a factor of x plus 4 in the top and the bottom. It's okay if it's one above the other. No big deal. I don't have a factor of 2x minus 1 in the denominator, but there's another one that you have to pay attention to. And that's this 2 right there and the 4 right there. Okay? Because this is a monomial and a monomial, and you can divide out monomials with monomials, binomials with binomials, and so on down the line. So we just reduce 2 fourths. We know that's 1/2, where 2 goes into 2 once and 2 goes in there twice. I don't think we have anything else. You got to be careful that you don't leave some things behind. There's a little x hiding right there, so that's one of the factors in the top, and our other factor is the 2x minus 1. In the denominator in the bottom, I've got this x plus the 1, right? And that's it. Remember, factors have to look exactly alike. We don't have another factor that looks like x plus 1 in the top, so that's our final answer.